Day 3 of the young Dolph murder trial was interesting. Phone tracking data shows Justin Johnson around the murder scene, and call logs talking to Big JOOK after the murder. Yeah, just a lot of technical data about this guy pretty much being cooked and tracked everywhere, talking to people, panicking, asking for help. At the end, he goes up on the stand and they ask him if he's going to testify, so stick around for that. Hit subscribe, join channel membership. Let's go, boys.
I'm going to take responsibility for it, okay? You're an extra witness to clear up a mistake from yesterday. Okay.
Prosecution's admitting a mistake from yesterday.
We were attempting to see if there was video footage in connection with this investigation.
Did you speak with security there?
Yes.
Were you allowed to view video there?
Yes, sir.
Did you retrieve video from there?
Yes, sir, we did.
And was it accurate surveillance footage from the building?
Yes, sir.
From November the 16th and November the 17th?
Yes, sir.
Of 2021?
Yes, sir.
And was it one camera angle or many camera angles?
Many camera angles.
So it has something to do with the footage from the apartments of Justin Johnson going in and out of his apartment building.
Those videos that you viewed and that you obtained, did they have timestamps on them?
Yes, sir.
So when you watched the videos, you could see what time it was and you could see the time going as you watched it?
Yes, sir.
Those accurate timestamps?
Yes, sir.
So it's 10:49 a.m.
What is that green writing up top?
The green writing up top says 8th floor W8 elevator, and it gives the, I'm looking at a date of 11/17/21 with time of 10:49 and 28 seconds right now, a.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay. If you could stop it just for 1 second. That's 10:49 a.m.
Say, right? Yes.
Did I tell you that the black screen that we had seen previously said 11:49 or 11:41 was off an hour?
Yes.
Okay. Did I tell you that was a mistake?
Yes, sir.
So they were off by an hour in the reel they made. So what this changes is he left the apartment building actually 90 minutes before the shooting. But yesterday they showed he left 30 minutes before the shooting, an hour difference. I don't think that's that big of a deal, but it's definitely, you know, important for them to get this whole shit right because it's the timeline of this guy's day leading up to the shooting. If I was his defense lawyer, I would raise hell. Brian Steele would raise hell over this. By the way, this courtroom is going viral for how ugly it is, and I completely agree. I said that in a video on the first day, but I edited it out for some reason, and I regret it because so many comments are about how weird this courtroom is. To be honest, so I've seen several court cases over the years, and timestamp footage is wrong a lot on security footage, so.
Electronic surveillance and communication intercepts, and I got certified, did a lot of call detail record analysis.
Still training that you do? You keep updated on this?
Yes, sir. This technology changes quite often over the last couple of years with 4G going to 5G, and about every 2 months I continue education with.
So this is the state cell phone expert guy. He deals with digital forensics.
How many hours of training have you had?
Almost 1,300 hours.
Almost 1,300 hours.
Yes, sir.
1,300 hours of training in this. 54 days of training. So he brought a little presentation of how cellular technology works and everything. Kind of boring, but I'll try to get through it quick with the edit.
That is a cell tower, cell site location. Little white rectangles, those are antenna. Goes from the phone to the tower to the base station controller, and all that's doing is these computers are looking for the number that you call. If it's not there, it moves to the next one. And all of these towers keeping record of the phones that it's communicating with. This entire network is run by computers that know where the device is. That's how they can connect a call so quickly.
I don't even understand how this shit works. Like, this stuff still blows my mind, how there's like satellites in space and fucking Wi-Fi and shit, dude.
And anywhere where you don't have a cell tower, you're not going to have cell coverage. So if you're out in the ocean, for example.
And I guess that's why I'm asking, because that shows more than a direction. That shows a boundary.
It shows an area. And that shaded area is just to draw the eye more towards, it's coming from that area instead of behind it.
So is this boundary? So I'm trying to just get things straight. Is this boundary a strict boundary?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
So it's just the direction of the antenna pointing. We've seen defense lawyers pick apart this type of stuff because it's not completely accurate. It just gives a general area. I think it's like a football field or a mile or something. Fuck, I don't remember, dude. I watched a whole trial in the Melly trial about it. There's 2 towers overlapping each other or something. So they got this guy's phone tracked from the apartments to the gas station to the homicide scene to Gospel Gardens.
And it comes back to the period guy.
So Smith's phone is actually subscribed to him, or he's actually a listed
Yes, sir.
subscriber?
Yes, sir.
And Johnson's son's his sister?
Yes, sir.
So Justin Johnson was on his sister's plan.
So that device was accessing that tower, and of course it was providing coverage for that location from 1 a.m. to 2:35 a.m.
So the night before, 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., he was at his apartment building before the murder the night before.
To the Valero station, that was marked.
So the night before, he was also at the gas station, the trade of the car. This guy's tracked doing everything so far. And now he's back at his apartment building.
12:17 would be close to homicide time, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Somewhere between 12:21 and 12:23 or 4?
Yes, sir.
So 4 minutes before the murder, an outgoing call that lasted 6 seconds.
Just north of the homicide scene.
Makita's is right here, wow. And this is literally right after the murder, where a data session picked up his phone. This guy's cooked, boys. Look at how many calls came in around 2 p.m.
7 calls on that top tower.
Gotcha. Everything incoming.
Yes, sir.
Tower that could cover Bradley, Orange Mountain. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then the device starts accessing two different towers, the tower shown at the bottom.
247, 248, 250, 252, 235. We start accessing different towers.
Yes, sir. So the red dot, so again, that I dropped in the homicide scene, the tower just to the right of it was a tower that device was accessing for that first 20 minutes, between 3 and 3:20.
So here's the timeline in text form. He was at his apartment, gas station to get the car, apartment, around the murder at the bottom. Around the time of the shooting, he was accessing the tower around this address right here. Motherfucker pretty much drove around after and called people.
Towers that cover homicide scene. Time of homicide.
Yes, sir.
This trial is gonna be done probably in the next day or two. Defense cross-examination on the cell phone guy. He's gonna try to pick apart these records so that they're not completely accurate.
That could potentially go out miles in either direction, a couple of miles in either direction, correct?
Down south towards the airport. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. In fact, you talked about some calls that occurred about 12:23, and there were several call and/or data usage points at 12:23. And is that the call that goes over two towers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And hits two separate towers. And isn't there another data usage in that minute, that 12:23 minute?
So here's Makita's cookies. What I think he's gonna do here is try to point out one of the times his phone pinged off a tower far from Makita's, separate his client from the scene, but
You've also got this one. I don't think this one got mapped. For 12:23:06. It's a voice call. The call detail record show is 12:23:09, which is down here next to the airport.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, based on what you know of this area, would it surprise you, or would you know that it's about 3 miles from the Kita cookie to this tower here on 240 or near 240?
It could be. Yes, sir.
Okay. Number one, was there any particular reason why you didn't map out either of these 12:23 either data usages or calls that occurred, the one out here at 240 or the one down here at the airport?
Yes, sir.
You can see we're not talking about the exact times here, but within a minute, this cell phone, the one that is associated with Mr. Johnson, is hitting off, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 towers?
Yes, sir.
within a minute, yeah, because your boy probably hopped back in the car and sped away going 80 to 100 miles per hour on the highway.
Within this period of time, you would agree with me, in less than 30 seconds, no one's getting from up here on Dietrich Avenue down to the airport.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Right? They're not driving that far going there.
Yes, sir.
I see his point, but there's one ping down below from probably the very end of them running in the car going south. Defense did as good as he could with the situation. It's kind of hard, but this is Jesse Browning. I believe he worked in some sort of gang unit, but he has a lot of experience with phone records as well.
Okay, that's the Apple ID Gmail account. Correct. Or to the phone. You can go back.
So he found the Apple ID connected to Justin's phone.
So right here we have on November 16th, 2021, 6:10:31 p.m. we have Treon Ingram sending a outgoing text, which is a photo of what appears to be like a white Mercedes-Benz, and then this was actually pulled from Treon Ingram's cellular device. So this was
They got these boys texting about trading the cars that are stolen and shit at the Valero gas station.
Day before the murder,
the day before the murder.
outgoing from Treon Ingram.
Correct.
Is that correct?
And it's a outgoing text message to Treon Ingram. It's going to be a location drop, and then the location that was dropped is going to be 1168 Bradley Street in Memphis.
That's where the car was abandoned after the murder. Just connecting him more to that fucking house. Like, he's connected to everything. There's too many coincidences, bro. This is impossible to fight. There's no defense to this.
Gray sweatpants and black shoes with white stripes and the Bass Pro Shop hat. And it looks like it's going to be his daughter just standing. You can barely see her to the left. And
Were you aware through the investigation that he was living there across town?
correct, yes.
Oh my God, imagine his daughter growing up and seeing this.
10:54 a.m. So it's actually be in that time period that we just saw. Is that correct?
So he's communicating Cornelius before the murder.
An outgoing call from Justin Johnson to Cornelius Smith, and that duration is about 17 seconds.
And we are within 21 minutes of the homicide. Is that correct?
That's correct. Justin Johnson receives an incoming call from his mother, and that duration is 0. And that time frame was significant for me and the investigators because that was at the same time frame that the homicide was being committed.
His mom called him right around the time he did the murder. I think it was a minute before.
12:25 p.m. directly murder time frame or after. Is that correct?
Correct. 12:25:40, Justin Johnson places an outgoing call to Anthony Mims, and it's got a 2-second duration. It appears probably to go unanswered.
Right after homicide.
Correct.
Who's Anthony Mims?
So it's Big JOOK. He's like the number 2 on CMG record label.
Holy shit. Connecting him to Big Joke.
How's Big Jook identified in Justin Johnson's phone
Under JOOK.
as Jook?
FaceTime audio. Like the only thing we found was that there was some type of application with the FaceTime audio that was accessed by FaceTime, and then it identified.
So this is about a minute after the call that we just saw.
That's correct.
FaceTime audio, Justin Johnson 2, Big Jook.
Correct. 12:39:07, Justin Johnson places an outgoing call to Kiana Hooper. And then at 12:39:56, Justin Johnson receives an incoming text from Kiana Hooper. And then at 12:53 p.m., Justin Johnson places an outgoing call to Kiana Hooper.
It's his cousin when he went to the house when Cornelius was shot in the shoulder.
Did you observe in those rap videos that he has tattoos on his hands?
I did.
Did you observe in those rap videos that he's left-handed or right-handed?
He's right-handed.
Dude, if you're going to try to commit a murder, if you're right-handed, don't use your right hand. Use your left hand, because that could fucking confuse some people in the drill. Sorry. I know it's fucked up, but...
Was there information in the car he did clean and wipe down?
Yes.
Were you aware that on chapstick that was found in the car, Treon Ingram's DNA is found on chapstick?
Yes, I did.
Were you aware that during the investigation, they tried to search the Mercedes to find what may or may not be blood?
That's correct.
Were you aware that they took samples of that stuff?
Yes.
Were you aware they also took what could be called touch DNA samples?
Yes.
And were you aware that that stuff was sent to TBI
Yes, it was.
with inconclusive results, either DNA obtained but not enough to make any sort of comparison, or just simply inconclusive results?
Yeah, that's correct.
Can you tell us why Big Jook is not charged in this case?
He's deceased.
All right, defense cross-examination on Mr. Browning.
You talked about this some with Mr. Hagerman when there was calls that said Cornelius Smith calls Angela Arnold, and it was from Mr. Johnson's phone, right?
Correct.
So, and he made a point to say, like, look, just to be very accurate,
Right.
all you can really say is Justin Johnson's phone contacted that person. But you can't say that Mr. Johnson necessarily placed those calls, correct?
No, just a cellular device placed those calls, unless you take maybe the one on the elevator, clearly he's on the phone.
That one. For instance, you made a reference to a call to Big Jook or Anthony Mims in a FaceTime attempt. Interaction, I think is what you called it.
Correct.
You can't say who initiated that call or that FaceTime interaction, correct? Only that it was something that occurred on that phone.
Yeah, I was basing it off testimony that was given to me by other cooperating defendants and witnesses and things of that nature.
Okay. But based on the phone records, not getting into what other
Yeah,
people
the
on this
record
board.
itself, just an interaction between his device and Anthony Mims' device.
Because you would agree with me, when you start relying on other cooperating defendants, you're relying on them to be truthful, right? About their interactions.
Always.
Right? And they're not always truthful about their interactions. Yeah?
That's correct. That's why we like the phone.
Right. And so, and in this case, there's multiple instances where somebody's claiming to be using someone else's phone, right? Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, like the reason you say Cornelius Smith called Angela Arnold, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Not Mr. Johnson personally. So there's other people taking other people's phones for whatever reason, at least on one occasion, not even being in the same location as that person, right?
Casting doubt on who was using the phones and all this, but let's be realistic now.
All you can say is this phone did this action,
Correct.
right?
This phone made that contact with this phone. Yes.
Cooperating defendants in this case, one of which you met with was Hernandez Govan,
Correct.
on at least 2 occasions, correct?
Correct.
Gave you information about this case?
That's correct.
And he also did that, he had an attorney present, right?
Yes.
And he did that pursuant to an agreement, right, where he had protections, something called a proffer agreement, where he got to come in and say what he wanted to say without his words being used against him. Isn't that correct?
Correct. Yeah, no problem.
Right. And you understand that to mean that some people call that kind of a queen for a day agreement. He's allowed to come in,
Tell the truth.
hopefully, right?
Well, that's on him because then he loses the proper agreement.
Right. Right. And that's the risk, right? People come in and lie.
Well, that's his risk then.
Right. The assumption is he tells the truth under a proffer agreement, and what he's telling law enforcement in that meeting, those words, they can't come in and use those words against him, right? It's a form of something called use immunity, right? But they can't use those words.
State wants to approach when he brings up the proffer.
Obviously, you're looking at the video, right? And it shows the video at Makita Cookie, right? And it shows a Bass Pro Shop, what looks like a Bass Pro Shop hat, right?
That's correct.
And you see a similar hat at Concourse, Crosstown video, correct?
Yeah, didn't hat.
Okay. Well, you say identical, but let me ask you, did you recover the hat?
No.
Very popular hat.
Distinctive.
Distinctive, no doubt, right? Bass Pro Shop. But a very popular hat. I mean, almost a stone's throw from here is one of the biggest Bass Pro Shop in the
It's a
world.
lot more popular now.
You're aware that a rapper named Travis Scott has his own, signature Bass Pro Shop hat, right?
No, I did not.
Okay. People like Gwen Stefani have gone on Instagram and posted themselves in a Bass Pro Shop hat,
Know that.
right? And so, kind of a trend, a popular trend, right? Those people are posting it. You interviewed at least one individual from the Makita Cookie that identified a person and said he always wears a Bass Pro Shop hat.
I didn't interview. I don't know what interview you were on.
Something to refresh your recollection.
Okay.
And
Someone went to Makita's that always had a Bass Pro Shop hat. What is he talking about?
something, yeah. Well, I mean, but there's a
I
guy
didn't
out
even see a
there.
reference to a murder or anything about that.
Well, I mean, some guy running around in a Bass Pro Shop hat, right? So, popular hat. Whether say again.
According to somebody, I guess. I don't remember interviewing that person. Or
So he's bringing up someone completely irrelevant, wore a Bass Pro Shop hat too, that went to Makita's Cookies before. Wait, Justin's walking up to the stand? There's no way he's going to testify.
Stand right here facing on the race right.
he's
swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Oh, apparently they're just asking him if he wants to testify later, like tomorrow.
Mr. Johnson, you understand that we're at the part of the trial now where you have a right to testify or not testify on your own behalf? Yes, sir. And you and I have discussed this at length, have we not? Yes, sir. And you understand that you have a right to testify on your own behalf? All right. Yes, sir. And no one can take that away from you. You understand that? You also have a right to not testify. And if you don't want to testify, the judge is going to instruct the jury they can't hold that against you. You understand that? Yes, sir. Have you thought about it extensively? Yes, sir. And we've had several discussions, have we not? Yes, sir. And after considering all of that, what do you wish to do? Not testify. All right. Thank you.
You say I'll testify? Oh, apparently he said not testify. So Hernandez Govin was supposed to testify as well, but he ended up not testifying at the end here. And now the prosecution rests its case. So defense is going to be able to do some shit tomorrow, boys. And then I would imagine it's going to be quick though, like probably a few hours maybe, not even that. And then it's going to be verdict watch pretty much. So